Okay, this is the first video from Module 2, which is over rational number concepts. And this is Lesson 1, Interpret Rational Numbers. First off, we're going to have to figure out what a rational number is. And I have that as a vocabulary word right up here, highlighted for you. So a rational number, a number that can be written in fraction form, where A and B are integers. And remember, from last chapter, we talked about integers. There are positive numbers and their opposites, so all of our numbers in there. We're going to start right up here at the top. Our first problem is right here. We have A, B, C, D, E, and F, so we have a lot to break down on this problem. The average low temperature in Nome, Alaska in January is the rational number -2.8. Consecutive marks on a number line increase and decrease by the same amount. What marks would you need to graph 2.8 on the number line? Since it's a decimal, we're going to do not just whole numbers. We're going to look at the place value of that 8. The 8 is in the 10th spot, so we need to do 10th spots on our number line. B, between what two consecutive numbers, or integers, is -2.8 located on the number line? Question mark. -2.8 is between the integers -2 and -3 because it falls right in between them. How would you graph -2.8 on a number line? I would plot a point 8/10 to the left of -2 because that is -2.8 right there. Complete the statement to describe the position of -2.8 compared to 0. -2.8 is 2.8 units to the left of 0. Because any numbers on the left-hand side of 0 are negative numbers. E. What is the opposite of -2.8? The opposite of -2.8 will be 2.8. units to the right of 0. So the opposite of -2.8 is 2.8. And most of you probably could figure that when I asked you what the opposite of -2.8, you probably were already at this answer before having to talk any of that out. Okay, we're moving to F on the number line. We're going to graph -2.8. So I go to -2, and then we're counting by tenths. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to put our dot right here. That's -2.8. So I graph that. Now I need to graph its opposite. The opposite of -2.8 is 2.8. So I go to 2, and I go all the way over to 0.8. So 2.8. And that's all there is on that first long, big question. Now let's move to the middle question we have. The legs of a display swing set are buried in the ground 1/2 foot. What marks on your number line would you need to graph a 1/2? It would be a 1/2. You can write it out like this, or you can write it out like that. So it would be like 0, a 1/2, 1, 1 1/2, and then 2. B, describe the position of a 1/2 on a number line. A 1/2 is between the integers 0 and 1. 1/2 is 1/2 unit to the right of 0. It's going to be on the right of 0 because it's a positive number. The opposite of a 1/2 will be a 1/2 unit to the left, to the left of 0. So the opposite of 1/2 is -1/2. Now we're going to graph 1/2 and its opposite. So here's 1/2, and then the opposite is -1/2. Let's look down here. The lowest elevation at Death Valley National Park is approximately -0.05 miles. What is the distance from sea level? So we are 0.05 away from sea level. Between what two consecutive integers is -0.05 located on the number line? What they mean by that, what whole numbers are they between? Because we're a negative number, we're under 1, so we're going to be between 0 and -1. Complete the number sentence. What is the Remember, those are absolute value. What is the absolute value of negative 0.05? 0.05. When we have an absolute value is how far something is away from 0 on the number line, and it always comes out positive. Mrs. Sutter withdraws money from the bank. The withdrawal transactions are recorded on her bank statement. We're going to do the absolute values. The absolute value of negative 5.25 is 5.25. The absolute value of negative 3.5 is 3.5. The absolute value of negative 7.10 is 7.10. And the absolute value of negative 4.75 is 4.75. Which is greater, negative 7.10 or negative 3.50? Since negative 3.50 is farther on the right-hand side of the number line, that is a greater number, so that is your answer for that one. Which is a greater withdrawal? This one is a greater withdrawal because you took more money out. Okay, so this part is check understanding right here. For check understanding, you remember you're going to see what you can do first. So if you're watching this and you haven't done this part, try to see what you can do. And then, so you'll pause it and then unpause it when you are done so you can see if you got the right answers. So go ahead and pause it and then unpause it when you're ready to go. Okay, let's take a look at the first one. The average weight of a newborn panda is 0.2, or in fraction form, it's 2/10 pound. Between what two integers is the weight of a newborn panda? So we're between 0 and 1 because it is over 0 pounds, but it is under 1 pound. We're going to graph each number on the number line, then find the absolute value. So first we have negative 0.2, which is right there. And I'm going to go ahead and get the absolute value of that. Then we have negative 1.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The absolute value of that is 1.5. And then we have 0.8, which is right here. And the absolute value of that is the same thing. That's all there is on the check understanding.